I told her to check the security footage from the parking garage. 3 seconds later, I heard glass shatter through the phone. My future son-in-law had just watched himself load boxes of stolen prototype designs into his Mercedes. But what neither of us knew yet was that the real betrayal was about to walk through my office door. Let me back up. My name is Richard Castellano, and for 37 years, I built medical devices. Started in my garage in 1986 with a better IV pump design, turned it into Castellano Medical Solutions, sold to a Fortune 500 company in 2019. I kept a consulting stake and a corner office in the building I used to own. My daughter Elena runs the R&D division now. She's brilliant. Stanford Engineering, MIT graduate program, patents in her name before she turned 30. Everything I built, she was going to take further. That's what I thought. Anyway, it started 6 months ago at Elena's birthday dinner. She brought her boyfriend Marcus. He was the CFO at a competing medical device startup. 28 years old, sharp dresser, firm handshake, the kind of guy who says synergy without irony. Elena was glowing. She'd been dating him for 8 months. "Dad, Marcus has an incredible opportunity for us," she said over dessert. "His company is developing AI-driven diagnostic tools. He wants to merge our prototyping capabilities with their software platform." I smiled, nodded, asked polite questions, but I've been in this business long enough to smell desperation disguised as opportunity. His company, Vital Path Technologies, had burned through 2 rounds of venture funding. I'd heard rumors they were 3 months from bankruptcy. And here was Marcus, dating the daughter of the guy who built the best rapid prototyping lab in the Southwest. "We should have our teams meet," I said carefully. "Already scheduled," Marcus grinned. "Next Thursday." I watched Elena squeeze his hand. She trusted him completely. That night, I couldn't sleep. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe I was just a suspicious old man who couldn't accept that his daughter was building her own future. But something felt wrong, so I called an old friend. Jimmy Chen and I went back to the early days. He'd handled security for Castellano Medical since 1991, back when security meant changing the locks after a disgruntled employee quit. Now he ran a private investigation firm that specialized in corporate espionage cases. "Jim, I need you to look into someone." Quietly. How quietly? "Elena can't know." There was a pause. Jimmy had watched Elena grow up. "You sure about this, Rick?" "No. That's why I'm calling you." For 3 weeks, Jimmy dug. Bank records, social media, business filings, employment history. Marcus looked clean. Almost too clean. His LinkedIn was perfect. His credit score was excellent. His references were glowing. But then Jimmy found the gap. "Rick, there's 8 months missing from his resume. Between his last position at Medtronic and starting at Vital Path, he claims he was consulting independently, but I can't find a single client, invoice, or tax filing." "What was he doing?" "That's the thing. I don't know yet, but I found something else. Vital Path CEO, guy named Derek Thorne, he was fired from Medtronic for attempting to steal trade secrets. Same department Marcus worked in. Same time frame as the gap." My blood went cold. "Keep digging," I said. The Thursday meeting happened. Marcus brought Derek and their head of engineering. Elena presented our newest prototypes, diagnostic devices that could detect sepsis in under 2 minutes using a single drop of blood. Revolutionary stuff. Patent pending. Worth hundreds of millions if it went to market. Marcus asked all the right questions. Took extensive notes. Derek filmed the demonstration on his phone, claiming it was for their stakeholder presentation. I smiled and played the proud father-in-law to be. But I was watching. Always watching. After they left, I pulled the security footage. Marcus had excused himself to use the bathroom during the presentation. The cameras showed him going into Elena's office instead. He was inside for 90 seconds. When he came out, his jacket pocket bulged slightly. I had our IT guy clone Elena's computer that night. What we found made me sick. Marcus had installed keylogger software on her laptop 3 months ago. Every password she typed, every file she opened, every email she sent to our patent lawyers had been forwarded to an encrypted server. We traced the server to a shell company registered in the Cayman Islands. The shell company's legal agent Derek Thorne's brother-in-law. But it got worse. Going through Elena's cloned emails, I found messages I'd never seen. Someone had created a fake email address that looked almost identical to mine. Just one letter different. Richard. Castellano versus Richard. Castellano. For the past 2 months, this fake account had been sending Elena instructions to share prototype designs, testing data, and manufacturing specs with Marcus's team, claiming I'd approved a preliminary partnership evaluation. Elena thought I was in the loop. She thought she was following my guidance. She'd handed them everything. I sat in my office at 3 a.m, staring at the evidence. My daughter had been manipulated by someone she loved. They'd used her trust in me against her. And in 2 weeks, Marcus's company was scheduled to file for a patent on what they were calling their rapid diagnostic system. I could have called the lawyers right then. Could have filed an injunction, pressed charges, burned Marcus and Derek in court. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm an engineer. And engineers don't just identify problems. We solve them. I called Jimmy the next morning. I need to hire some people, I said. People who can act. Rick, what are you planning? I'm going to give them exactly what they want. Here's what you need to understand about con artists. They're greedy, but they're also paranoid. They're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. So when everything goes too smoothly, they get suspicious. But if you give them a little resistance, a little friction, they relax. They think they're winning. I was going to let them think they'd won. First, I had our IT team create a new prototype design file. It looked perfect, complete with Elena's digital signature and my approval stamps. The device specifications were brilliant, revolutionary even. It would detect not just sepsis, but 12 different infection markers simultaneously. It was also completely impossible to manufacture. The tolerances required materials that didn't exist. The power consumption would drain a car battery in 6 seconds. The sensor array would cost more than a Ferrari. Anyone with an engineering background would spot the problems immediately during the prototyping phase. But on paper, it looked like a billion-dollar breakthrough. I named the file Project Sentinel Final Draft, Do Not Distribute, PDF, and saved it in Elena's supposedly secure folder. Within 24 hours, Marcus had copied it. Phase 2 was trickier. I needed Marcus to accelerate his timeline. If he waited until his company's patent filing, I'd have to fight this in court for years. But if I could get him to make his move earlier, publicly, with witnesses, I planted a rumor. Through a friend who knew a friend who worked at a venture capital firm, I let it slip that Castellano Medical was about to be acquired by Johnson & Johnson. The deal was supposedly closing in 6 weeks. After that, everything Elena had worked on would be locked up in J&J's IP portfolio, inaccessible forever. If Marcus wanted to steal Project Sentinel, he had to do it now. I watched him take the bait through Elena's cloned emails. He started pushing her to meet with his investors, to demonstrate the technology to potential partners. He claimed Vitalpath had secured emergency funding and wanted to fast-track the collaboration. Elena was hesitant. She told him she needed my approval first. That's when I made my move. I scheduled a family dinner. Elena, Marcus, my wife Catherine, and my son David, who's a patent attorney in Houston. I told everyone I wanted to discuss the future of the company. Marcus showed up in a suit that probably cost $3,000. Over appetizers, I announced that I'd changed my mind about retirement. I was coming back full-time as CEO. Elena would remain head of R&D, but all partnership decisions would go through me. Marcus's smile never wavered, but I saw his jaw tighten. "That's wonderful news, Richard," he said. "Actually, I was hoping to discuss something with you. Vitalpath has finalized our Series B funding. We're ready to formalize the partnership with Castellano Medical. I have the contracts drawn up." "Contracts?" I raised an eyebrow. "Based on the preliminary work Elena and I have been doing. The AI diagnostic integration using your rapid testing platform, Project Sentinel." Elena's face went white. "Marcus, I told you that was confidential. I never authorized—" "Your father approved it," Marcus said smoothly, pulling out his phone. "You sent me the files yourself, with his sign-off." He showed her the fake emails. "That's not my address," I said calmly. The table went silent. Marcus blinked. "What?" I pulled out my phone and showed everyone my real email address. Then I showed them Marcus's version. See the double S in Castellano? That's not me. That must be a typo. Elena probably just... I never approved anything, I said. And you know I didn't, because you created that fake account 3 months ago when you installed spyware on my daughter's computer. Catherine gasped. David leaned forward, suddenly very interested. Marcus recovered quickly. Richard, this is absurd. Elena, tell him. We've been working together in good faith. The keylogger was installed on March 15th, I continued. The same day you claimed you needed to help Elena update her security software. We have the forensic logs. We also have footage of you entering her office during last month's presentation and removing files from her desk drawer. I used the bathroom. No, you went into her office. We have you on 4 different cameras. Marcus stood up. I don't have to listen to this. Elena, are you going to let your paranoid father sabotage what we've built? Elena was crying. Marcus, just tell me the truth. Did you steal my work? Of course not. Your father's obviously losing it. Then explain the shell company in the Caymans, David said quietly. The one registered to Derek Thorne's family. The one receiving all the forwarded data from Elena's computer. I'd briefed David on everything that afternoon. As a patent attorney, he'd pulled the corporate filings. Marcus sat back down very slowly. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to leave this restaurant. You're going to go home and pack your things. Tomorrow morning, you're going to resign from Vital Path. You're going to sign a confession admitting to corporate espionage and a non-compete agreement that prevents you from working in medical devices for 10 years. If you do this, we won't press criminal charges. And if I don't, then I call the FBI agent who's waiting in the parking lot. And you spend the next 5 to 10 years in federal prison for wire fraud, theft of trade secrets, and computer crimes. I wasn't bluffing. Jimmy had contacted the FBI 2 days ago. They'd been building their own case against Vital Path for investment fraud. Marcus looked at Elena. She was staring at her plate, tears streaming down her face. Elena, please, get out, she whispered. He left. The FBI arrested Derek Thorne the next morning. Vital Path Technologies filed for bankruptcy within a week. Marcus signed the confession and disappeared. I heard he moved to Oregon and started selling insurance. You'd think this would be a happy ending. Justice served, family protected, bad guys punished. But that's not what happened. Elena didn't speak to me for 3 months. She'd trusted Marcus. She'd loved him. And yes, he'd betrayed her. But in her mind, I'd known for weeks and hadn't told her. I'd let her keep seeing him, keep believing in him, while I built my case. You used me as bait, she said when she finally came to my office. You could have told me the truth. We could have handled this together. But instead, you played puppet master. And I was just another piece in your scheme. I was protecting you. No, Dad. You were protecting the company. If you were protecting me, you would have told me the truth and let me decide how to handle it. She was right. I'd been so focused on catching Marcus, on making sure the evidence was perfect, that I'd forgotten my daughter was a person, not a problem to be solved. I'm sorry, I said. I know you are. But that doesn't change what you did. She transferred to our Boston office 2 months later. Not because of Marcus. She'd moved past him quickly once she saw the evidence, but because she needed distance from me. We talk now. Weekly phone calls, holidays together. She's thriving in Boston, running a team twice the size of what she had here. She's even dating someone new. A researcher at MIT. She learned from Marcus. She's more careful now, but not closed off. And me? I learned something too. There's a difference between protecting someone and controlling their life. I thought I was being a good father, using my resources and experience to save Elena from a con artist. And I did save her, technically. The company's fine. The patents are secure. Marcus is gone. But I broke her trust in the process. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd just told her the truth from the beginning. Elena, I'm worried about Marcus. Let's investigate together. Maybe she would have been hurt. Maybe she would have denied it. But at least she would have had agency in her own life. Instead, I made the same mistake Marcus did. I decided I knew what was best for her, and I manipulated the situation to get my desired outcome. The difference is, my intentions were good. But here's what I've learned about intentions. They don't matter as much as actions. Marcus claimed he loved Elena too. I'm sure, in his twisted way, he believed it. He probably told himself he was building a future for them with the stolen technology. Good intentions don't excuse betrayal. And protection doesn't excuse control. Last week, Elena called me. "Dad, I need your advice," she said. It was the first time in 2 years she'd asked me for help. "What's going on?" "I found out someone on my team has been leaking information to a competitor. I have proof. I could fire them, maybe press charges. But I keep thinking about Marcus, about how you handled it. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to manipulate the situation. I want to do this right." I smiled. "Then tell them the truth. Call them into your office, show them the evidence, and have an honest conversation. Give them a chance to explain. Maybe there's a reason you don't know about. Maybe there isn't. But at least you'll know you treated them with dignity." There was a long pause. "That's good advice, Dad. I should have followed it myself." "Yeah," she said softly. "You should have." But she didn't hang up angry. We talked for another hour about her team, her projects, her life in Boston. It felt like the distance between us was finally closing. I still believe I did the right thing exposing Marcus. He was a con artist who would have destroyed Elena's career and stolen years of her work. He deserved everything he got. But I also believe I did the wrong thing in how I handled it. Both things can be true. That's what I've learned at 64 years old. Life isn't an engineering problem with one correct solution. It's messy. It's complicated. Sometimes protecting the people you love means stepping back and letting them face difficult truths on their own terms. I saved my daughter's career, but I lost 2 years of our relationship. Was it worth it? Ask me on a good day, when Elena calls to tell me about her latest research breakthrough, and I'll say yes. Absolutely. I'd do it again. Ask me on a bad day, when I'm sitting alone in my office, looking at old pictures of Elena's college graduation, her first patent approval, her standing in our lab with that proud smile. On those days, I'm not so sure. Marcus is gone. The patents are safe. The company is thriving. But trust, once broken, takes years to rebuild, even when you're doing it for the right reasons, especially then.